Hey people, we're live. Hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining. So I'm just going to pin the comment very quickly. Hey sis, thank you for joining. Hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Good to see you all again today. Hi Kemute. Thank you. Thank you sis. Thank you for joining. How has been our day? I know today is earlier, like we said yesterday that we're having it a little bit earlier today, and it's for a very cogent reason. And of course, I know that you guys don't mind. We're having a guest in today's conversation, and it's going to be a very great and interesting and also enlightening conversation. So I'm really expectant. I'm really looking forward to having a good time, a good learning time as well. So I'm happy that you guys are here. If you can share this with your friends, if you can share it with your network. Oh, really? You love it as the time is really early. Oh, wow. I didn't know, actually. I just thought, okay, by 8 p.m. people would be back at home already. But I mean, today is the first time I'll be trying 6 p.m. I didn't know you would love it. Hi, Blessing. My guest is here already. Oh, thank you so much. So I'm going to take... Hey, let me see. Hi, Dio. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to accept you. Okay. Hi. You're here.
Yeah, I am. Just give me a second.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Ekom, thank you for joining. I see you. Opayemi, thank you. Dio of London, I see you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. I see you all. Blessing is here already, so I know we're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great learning time. And I appreciate it that
All
you
right,
guys have to
I'm here
work
now.
with the time. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know that you have a very busy schedule, but I mean, taking out 30 minutes from your time to do this is really great, and I really do appreciate it. And I know everybody on the call as well appreciates it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So, I mean, just to give a little bit of a background for people and for you as well, what we're trying to do here. The summit itself is called the Borderless Summit, right? And over the last 1 week, I've been having conversations around borderlessness, global positioning. It's really a conversation that is shaping culture for African talent, defining the narratives for them, for freelancers, remote workers, professionals in their career, and because we found out that the world is really going global. So you don't, from whatever part of the world that you're positioned, your ideas can go global, your business can go global, your career can go global, right? And over the last few years as well, I have been able to position myself as a freelancer, a top-rated freelancer. But beyond that, I've coached hundreds of people as well in the freelancing space. And I just really thought a lot of people don't have an idea of how to do this, right? Why don't we put together something where we just begin to share with people how to position, how to start for beginners, conversations around really just positioning yourselves online. And that's why I thought, okay, if we're going to talk about visibility, branding, and communications, then you are the perfect person to talk about that. And that's why you're here. So thank you once again.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. And also thank you for hosting this kind of conversations. I feel like so people don't have access to particular people, and
Yeah.
just you being able to take that responsibility where you would be rejected or accepted, all of
Absolutely.
that, or probably not answered. Like
Yes.
that's so strong on your part, and I applaud you for it. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you got that right, right? Some people will not even respond, rejections, acceptance here and there, but I appreciate that you're here.
It's really not
Thank you so
easy. I mean,
much.
that's the burden of leadership, right?
Yes.
Doing it so that other people can have it easier.
Yes. Yes. 100%. Thank you. Okay, well, I guess people are fluctuating, coming in, coming out. But this video is going to be saved, so I know that whatever time people are able to connect, it will still be of great value to them. And I guess we can get right into the conversation. I really wanted to start from, I don't know if you freelanced before, but I read a little bit about some of the things that you've done. And for the sake of people who have no idea, end to end, and just to do a little bit of a background for people who are on the call, Blessing Abeng, if you don't know already, I don't know what you are doing online, but she's a brands and communications expert. And of course, she's the co-founder as well at Ingressive for Good. If you don't know Ingressive for Good and you're in tech, I don't know what you're doing as well. They dish out a lot of scholarships. I'm on their email list, so I'm getting a lot of value. Is in LinkedIn optimizations, opportunities for scholarships? Absolutely. So I get all of those things. So guys, you should subscribe to that as well. So I wanted to know your journey, just to start from that. What is it like? How did we get here? Let's start from that side.
Wow. It's always special to have to round up my life. I mean, quite a number of decades to round it up into a few minutes, but I will try. Um, let's start from not the beginning, where I decided that I was going to study biochemistry on my way to becoming a medical doctor, right? Which was like an agreement my father and I had. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Not because I wasn't smart enough. Please, I was like one of the smartest people in secondary school, but it just didn't align at the time. I just found after my IT, I think my year 3, I was like, really, it's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. During my internship, I was like, no, I don't see myself doing this. And yes, medicine is nice, but it takes a long time. Yes, I want to add value to people and save lives, but there has to be another way. And so I
Absolutely.
started exploring other things, which is how I think I joined a public speaking club, which was led by my registrar at the time. And he gave us this assignment to go and write business plans. So that's one of my first stints with freelancing. I
Okay.
went, I wrote the business plan, Googled it, figured it out, loved it, started writing it. People loved the marketing part of my business plan, and so they will pay me for it. So I was like, this is nice,
This is good.
Yeah, and I didn't expect that. So when that happened, I was really excited. And then, next thing I know, um, one of my friends was like, Beth, the marketing part of your plans are so dope. Have you considered branding? You should probably go to school for it. I Googled branding at the time. Branding wasn't popular. And so I was like, okay, I mean, doesn't hurt. And so I did. I loved what I learned. I actually think I went to the most perfect school that I could have gone to when it comes to branding, right? Because it was so informative. Like, it wasn't branding from the normal branding perspective. You know how people would just tell you like branding is a logo, is a font.
Yes.
No, it wasn't any of those. We're so immersed. And then when I did my own research, I really loved what I learned about branding. And that's how my journey sort of started. I worked in an agent. Actually, I worked in agencies. I worked on brands like multinational brands, global brands, international brands as well. Worked from there. Worked with a startup. Worked with a very big company. Somehow, people started finding me and asking me to consult for them. So that was really great as well. Had my own business where we had lots of clients. Yeah, and it just sort of went from there. And I founded my own, like I founded a business with my friends who invited me to, we had already started the business and they were like, Blessing, come and join us. So I went, I joined them. The name of that business was Disha. It was
Nisha.
recently acquired by Flutterwave.
Totally.
Yeah. And then, I then co-founded Ingressive for Good with my friends as well, Maya and Sean. And that's how we got here to this minute. But I have done freelancing a few times in my life, and it has been an interesting journey. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Around that
But one of the
area.
things that I've learned from my whole journey is that it doesn't make sense until you look back. Right? When you look back, the dots suddenly connect. You're like, wow. So that's why this thing was necessary for this other thing to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is beautiful. And I love the fact that you were able to also connect the dots, I mean, on those different levels. And I wanted to know at what point, because I mean, if anybody goes to your page right now, one of the first thing that would jump out at anybody would be the black thing, right? Was that an intentional thing, or it was part of the branding, the positioning for you? Because I want it to be relatable for the people listening as well.
Okay, so the black and white thing was born 100% out of laziness. I
Wow.
pride myself in telling everybody who hears me that I am a very lazy person. Lazy as in, I want to do the best that I can possibly do in the shortest amount of time, but with the bestest results. And that's such a difficult thing to achieve, because most times, if you pass through the shortcuts, the results
Mm.
will not be great. And then
Oh.
if you want to do the great one, shortcuts is
Mm-hmm.
not really an option. But I'm too
Yes.
lazy to be thinking
Hmm.
about these things. So when I first started on Instagram, I used to just post anything, right? Which was fine, because it was like I was trying to be anything. But you could also, as you move on, you could also, if you go back to my, anybody who has the time, you can go back to the bottle.
Way
You just
back.
see me, I'll be posting random things, right? But you also see me start posting thematic stuff, because somehow I was getting more and more conscious about aesthetics. I really
Mm.
love beautiful things. I like when things look nice, look arranged, put together. I love
Yes.
art. I love colors. I like the things I like.
Mm.
And it's part of my passions. I really
Right.
like, even with Ingressive for Good Design. I don't know how much of our design you experience, but when you see
Mm.
Ingressive for Good Design, you can see that it's intentional, right?
Yes.
So I really care about the intentionality of design. Those are things I would. My designer used to say, our head of design back then would just be like, Blessing, how did you notice that space was missing here? Because it's
Yeah.
really difficult to notice. That's the kind of person that I am. And
Mm.
so I started embracing all of the color, the beauty, everything. However, I was too lazy to be doing that for myself. Like, it would mean that I would have to be taking some kind pictures. I have to,
Yes.
and
Background.
so that became a barrier for execution, because it became an extra excuse that I would use and be like, oh,
Gosh.
I can't take this picture at this time, so
Mm.
I do have blue shades or something like that, so I wouldn't execute, and that didn't make sense because I had a lot of value
Mm.
to offer. And also, one of the things I know I had remembered from working in an agency is like, themes are really interesting, especially when you're working for a beauty brand, right? You want to have
Mm.
a certain theme, and to achieve this theme, you can get it with filters. Filters can help you achieve those kind of themes, but I
Yeah.
don't have time for that.
To
I want
do
to be
all
able
of
to
that. I
put
agree.
quality pictures and not so quality pictures, and they would all look alike. And that's where black and white came in. It helps me
Oh.
be lazy, and still express myself. And funny enough, at the time, black and white were two of my favorite colors as well, because of what they
Oh.
meant and what they represented. And so I just embraced all of that, and then I tie this into my brand at the end of the
Mm.
day about what they stood for, the
Mm.
transparency, the authority, all of those things that they stand for, and also giving other creatives a palette to be able to
Yeah.
splash their own colors on, right? So those were key
Mm.
things that mattered to me, and so I just grew with it.
I
Yeah,
love
the
it.
yellow was also super intentional as well. You notice like pops
Okay.
of yellow, very
Yes.
intentional as well. Just because I have vibrant personality and all of
You
those things,
know.
so I wanted to incorporate it into my brand.
Wow. I love that. I'm sure I will switch to black and white. Wow, that is
It's really
really so
easy.
beautiful. That's really so beautiful. And one of the things that I mean, one of the encounters that I have in your work or understanding your work ethics would be when I requested for a certain information, and then I got access to an entire website for your picture that has your portfolio, the bios, and I was wild. I'm like, wow, this is on another level. I mean, the thought leaders that we know that they don't have that. This is
Proof
good.
of my laziness. So it's
Oh
laziness
my
that brought me
god.
here. It's just like I can't keep generating the same information over and
You
over
know,
again. So how about we make it a template, right? And that's something
yeah.
that I really work through. If I can't, like, just find a template, stick to it so
Yes.
that you don't affect yourself. And then if you get bored, edit
Yeah.
it, change it up, and
Absolutely.
then move again, right? Because you can't
Yes.
keep yourself.
True.
Yeah.
True, and it's so relatable to me in a way as well. I remember there was a time while working physically before I switched to remote. I had a particular type of clothes because I knew they would not waste my time. They were boo-boos, they were free dresses. I didn't have time to start thinking of the shirt or the. I just carried the free dress and I'm good to go. And it's the same thing I tell even freelancers in terms of applying for jobs. I have a template, more like a proposal template. Then I tweak it every time I need to apply for jobs. So it's somewhere, so you have something to work with per time. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I feel
much
like
for.
anybody who is listening, number one thing you should have learned by now is have a template, but don't be
Yes,
afraid to switch it up, where
very true.
necessary, right? And bringing that to branding, I think
Yeah.
that's also why personal style is important as well. Because one of the
Mm,
things in branding that, a lot of people don't know in your
mm,
personal brand is that how you look matters, how you appear matters, right?
mm,
And me, I'm carefree, so you can tell that from how I look.
mm,
But for some other people, they're very, very put together. Kim Kardashian would never come on an IG live looking like this.
mm. All of the makeup, the glam, and
Do you
all of that.
understand? So me,
Yeah.
that's not who I am.
Mm,
At the moment, that can change probably later, but that's not
mm,
who I am. I like
mm.
to show up exactly like as myself
Your
in my.
authentic self.
Yeah, but different people have the different things that make them themselves, right? So
Mm,
you also picking your personal style can also help you save time, energy, because you now have a template. It would also help you get rid of the clutter. It will help you
yes,
focus as well. Because think about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was literally the turtleneck master with jeans, black turtleneck,
absolutely.
blue jeans.
Like Mark Zuckerberg as well, the t-shirt
Exactly. So
guy.
you can focus on your focus, the things that are really important because you've sorted that part out. So pick a
Mm,
thing, sort it out, move to the next thing,
yeah,
automate as much as you can so that you
yes,
don't have to spend critical time doing basic things that you could have
yes.
automated.
Yeah, that's like majoring on the minors. Thank
Exactly.
you.
My husband says that all the time. So
Yeah,
that's
awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Blessing, for that foundation that we need. So getting right into the conversation, I know a lot of people on the call as well because I've seen few names that are not freelancers. I know they are professionals. A lot of people are entrepreneurs. And I think this conversation is still very relevant to you. You don't have to be a freelancer to talk about global positioning. I wanted to know what tips do you then have for, professionals, because we all know that everything is online right now. How do you position yourself for global opportunities? Because I would want to go a bit into Ingressive, things like Disha. But like you mentioned already, Disha is like from a personal friend. I don't know if Ingressive came from a personal friend as well, but positioning generally, what do you think? What should we begin to take note of?
okay. That's a very brilliant question. I see how much I can wrap up in like 10. Like, let me see how much I can put
Mm,
together. So let's start with let me answer the global positioning question and then move
mm,
back to curating a brand identity.
mm,
When I first met the founder of Disha, one of the things that he wanted was that, I want this to be a global brand. I don't want this to be a Nigerian thing. I want this to be like, you know, a global, like a worldwide thing that people would, like Calendly, right? People would come back
mm,
and be like, wow, I don't believe a Nigerian built this. And initially when we first started, that's not where we started from. We had a lot of Nigerians
mm,
using it. And one of the easiest way that we were able to turn Disha from a Nigerian brand to a global brand, one, partnerships. Number
mm,
two, showing people that look like showcasing the people that look like the people we wanted to attract, right? So let's talk about the showcasing part first. So showcasing people that look like the people you want to attract is part of a communication skill. It is you saying without saying anything. It's you
mm,
showing as opposed to saying, right? So if I wanted to go make my hair, I'm very conscious, especially when I'm abroad. I'm very conscious about the salons that I walk into because I want to be able to look at the flyers that they have in front of their building and determine whether or not these people do black hair. Does
okay,
it make
now,
sense? Exactly.
absolutely.
So think about that. Also, when you go to make your hair, even in Nigerian salons, they all have this like different pictures they would place, even
Yes,
barbing. They have these different pictures they would place when you walk into that salon, right? It
yeah,
will tell you if these are the kind of people that will make your kind of hair or the style that you're looking for, versus if this kind of people are for someone else. And so the only way you can showcase people who look like the people you want to attract is by first knowing the people you want to attract. So knowing your target audience, that's the
Yeah.
first thing. We knew our target audience. We had to define them very specifically, like who is the person who would use this. And same thing applies to Ingressive for Good, right? We're all about empowering Africans. So for us to be able to empower Africans, we need to show other Africans that we're also there for them. One of the things we will be incorporating, I think, next year is like speaking French in our newsletters and just adding an extra language, right? Because at the moment, we're not speaking any French because we don't attract French people yet, because we don't
Yes.
have training facilities to be able to take care of them yet. And so we're by default, we're doing it on purpose, where we're not talking to French people. We're not we're not disguising, we're not trying to speak Swahili or anything like that. So those people don't come in. Like, we're attracting Kenyans. We have a large number of Kenyans who are using Ingressive for Good, but they're not a lot. They're the English speaking ones, right? Do you understand? So we're
Okay.
not
Yes.
attracting the Swahili speaking Kenyans yet because we cannot serve them. So first, knowing the kind of people that you want to attract would help you position yourself better to showcase the kind of like people like them. One other way you can showcase people like them would be through testimonials. You want to show them that people like them are already using the platform, that people like them already had this problem and this was how they
You
solved it,
solved
right?
it.
And by going through that kind of process, what is happening is I'm not focusing on your brand. I am looking directly at the person who looks like me, because that person is in a better position to convince me that they need what it is that I am offering.
True.
You get, and this applies to entrepreneurs, freelancers, whatever it is that you're selling. You definitely need a target audience. Anybody who has been on any of my IG lives will probably have heard this story 1 million times and they're tired. But for the sake of new people who haven't heard this story, I will share it. If we all decide, all 25 of us who are on this live now, decide that we want to go fishing, and we say we're fishing for a shark, one of the first, we will not go to a river. We won't go to a pool. We wouldn't go to all these small places. We'll go straight to the ocean or a water body that we know a shark lives in. Do you get? From
Yes.
there, we will also pick a fishing, what's it called? Bait, not
True.
a worm.
Yes. Okay. The
The bait is
bait.
worm, because worm will attract baby fish, but not
But
our
we,
shark. So we can't
yes.
pick a worm. We would have to pick something blooded to go searching for our shark, right? We will also not use the normal hook and line. We would have to get a stronger reinforced hook and line that can pick sharks, or maybe use a net that is reinforced, or find another way, but we cannot use the basic hook and line that would have to catch, mackerel. So these
Yes.
are key things that you want to think about. Also, the kind of boat that will carry, it will not be cooler. I won't carry baby
This is
cooler that, oh,
huge.
I want to pick 1 or 2 fish. I have to carry something that would be able to accommodate a shark.
Yeah.
All this to say that if you don't know who your target audience is, you wouldn't even know where to go and look for them. You will know. You
Yes.
also will know how to attract them, what kind of things to say to attract them, what kind of tools to use to attract them. You will know. You also will know how to keep them,
When they
because
come.
you don't know. So
True.
first step is discovery. Discover
Yes.
yourself first. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I stand for? What is it that you know, all of those things. Like, what is it that I stand for? What is it that I communicate, exude? What is it? What's my personality? Who am I? Am I a fun, outgoing person? Am I a speaking person? Am I a quiet person, reserved? Whatever it is, just be honest with yourself, write it down. Then what is it that I want to offer these people? And like, what is it? What do I have to give? Right? So you want to ask that. But then you don't want to ask, who are these people?
Yeah.
What do they do? Who are they? What are their problems? What are their challenges? Why would they doubt me? How do they describe this problem that it is that I am facing? And then go from there to say, okay, when these people encounter me, where do I want them to encounter me? And after they're done encountering me, how do I want to make them feel during that encounter? What do I want them to remember when they're leaving that encounter? What do I want them to, do when they're done with that encounter, and these are things you want to really, really spell out for yourself, right? Because the more, like, it's easier for you to picture these things and know exactly what it is you want to do when you've gone through all of that thought process,
in your
right?
head.
So that's one thing to think about. Then the second thing that we talked about, right, after going through that mind encounter, these are the people that I'm targeting, this is what I want them to feel, it's also yourself, because you are going to create your barrier to execution. So you need to
Very
decide,
true.
how do I want to show up for these people? I see some people bite a lot. Like, it's like you bite way too much, more than you can chew. It's nice, but it's not sustainable, because consistency is
True.
the name of the game. So you want to be able to choose the things that you know you have the capacity to show up for. And in
Yeah.
what cadence are you going to show up in that capacity? So there was a time in my life where I used to post every day. It's no longer sustainable. I can't do that on Instagram. However, I'm beginning to pick and choose how I show up in a way that is quality, right? So anybody who is in my mailing list, anybody who subscribes to my newsletter on LinkedIn, anybody who encounters me through all these other different channels that I am now creating, you're going to get consistent value on a specific day. But the people who are following me on Twitter, I know that when I have spur of information, I would tweet it,
You will
I would
be
share my
there.
thoughts, I would, But how I am now trying to show up on Instagram is different. I show up at events, I show up through events, things like this. That's how I show up. Whenever I do have spurs of inspiration, like not just inspiration, but things that I feel like this is worthy to share, I
Yeah.
share it. Another thing I'm doing is I'm cataloging things that I have previously shared somewhere else, so that people who want only that thing, they don't want to hear about my personal life, they don't want to see me hanging out, they don't want all that. I just
They
go
can
there
go there.
and just really enjoy a master class, because that's what that is, right? So all of that is happening, and that's how you want to sort of, I'm not saying do it the same way that I have done, but you can choose, this is how I want to show up, these are the places I want to show up in, this is, and then choose your cadence. One of the easiest ways would be to create content pillars and say, these are the 3 things I want to talk about. Every Monday I will share a service or something, like a solution that I have
Yes.
encountered recently. Every Tuesday I would show and showcase somebody who has benefited from that solution. I can call it testimonial Tuesdays. And
Testimonials.
then every Wednesday I would celebrate a win. So it could be win Wednesdays, right, where I celebrate a win, I share how I'm doing, something great that happened in my life.
Yeah.
And that's up to you. You can come up with your own. These are just like tips and tricks, right? So that's all about, like, showing off the kind of people you want to attract. So that was really important to us. Then the second thing I had mentioned was partnerships.
Yes.
Partnerships are really cute, because no matter how many times an algorithm will change, like TikTok can change the algorithm, they'll be tired. Instagram, that everybody will scatter
Every
their
day
algorithm.
Instagram does that.
Yeah, shake it like this and bring it back. The
Hmm.
one thing that's not going to change is collaboration.
Yeah.
Collaboration is not going to change. Every platform is still going to need that collaboration to thrive
Yes.
and grow. So leverage collaboration. And don't go looking for people who have 100,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 31,000, whatever. No. Look for people within your space that are already buying from you. Your customer that is already buying from you, there's a reason they come to you. Showcase them. Stop looking down on their 1,000 followers. In fact, sometimes their 1,000 followers are better, because every single 1,000 person there probably knows them, or at least
There's a
500.
personal
500
relationship.
agents, and if they can call that person on phone and say, this thing you posted about, give me more deep. So it's deeper. The relationship is deeper. So don't discount it. That could be one way to do partnership. Another way to do another partnership could be to identify organizations that have either shared customers, shared interests, shared relationships, shared anything with, right? You don't want to be that person who, let's say you're a vegan,
Okay.
right? You're a vegan, you're not going to partner with KFC. What are you doing? How?
Wrong.
Where to where? How? As in,
It
because of
doesn't
what?
relate.
So you have
Yeah.
to consider your shared mission, shared vision, shared everything. Figure
Yeah.
out, this person that I want to partner with, how can I offer them value, but how can they also offer me value? A partnership is not the thing that you're going to beg for. If you find yourself begging in a partnership, it means you don't have enough value to offer, or you don't believe in the value that you have. So think through it and say, what is it that I'm going to add to this person to make sure that this relationship is symbiotic, to make sure that they are getting value, I'm getting value, our customers are getting value. It's not just like a selfish relationship or anything. You guys could be in the same industry, or you could be in separate industries and find ways to collaborate. And you don't
Yeah.
always have to be Captain Obvious, right? You don't always have to collaborate. Like, it doesn't always have to be like a Sarah Gala or Granot Gary
You
or
know,
Ewa
or
Boy.
yin and yang,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
doesn't always
Cold
have to
Stone and
be that
Dominoes.
way. You can be very creative about the ideas. The other day, I was reading about somebody's, like, there's a Substack that I read. The
Okay.
woman actually writes recipes, right? She does recipes, and she collaborated with another Substack writer that does playlists. So she asked that
Okay.
person to do a playlist
For
for a particular recipe. So the
wow.
idea is, if this playlist finishes and your food is not ready, you have made a mistake.
Ooh, that's creative.
Do you see how creative and different that
Yes.
is?
Out
It's
of the
like, it's
box.
so refreshing. So refreshing. So it doesn't always have to be so black and white, you know? Put a bit of yellow in between, put a bit of color,
Yes. Yes.
sprinkle a bit of color with your partnerships, and reach out to people. One of the things that would really help you to secure partnerships would be like the quality of your pitch, right? Not just the pitch, but like what it is that you're selling. Two things you should never miss out on when you're reaching out for partnerships: numbers and stories.
Okay.
So numbers and stories are two key data points that people look out for. The numbers are there to help us visualize, this is how far you have gone, this is how much people you have reached, blah, blah, blah. But the stories are there to zero in on the one of those large numbers.
Okay.
So if you reached 100 people, by telling me the story of one person that life has changed, it helps me see, oh, wow,
Okay. You're doing
that's
something like a case
exactly.
study.
Exactly. So one of the things you want to highlight when you're reaching out is, like, highlight the goals, say these are the goals of the things that I think we can do together. This is the value I see that you're currently working on right now to deliver. And this is how I think this partnership can help us deliver it. Of course, different conversations will require different tones. One other thing I'd like to leave you guys with would be, don't wait until you need the partnership before you reach out. Start building the relationship before you need that partnership, right? Because it goes a long way. Also, imagine that you want to partner with, let's say, Google. Let's partner with Google. Go to your LinkedIn and search for people that are working in Google. Let's say Google Nigeria. Who are they? What are they doing? Which one is within your reach? You don't have to go straight and go and talk to the country director. That's maybe with the marketing manager or
Yes.
somebody else, and just be like, ask questions, reach out. And you don't even have to send a connection request. You could just send a message and
Yes.
pay attention to the work that they're doing. If you, in fact, start tracking Google in the news 6 months ago, do you understand? And then
Yes.
you can reach out to the marketing manager and say, wow, I saw this work that you guys are doing, well done, big, like, good job. Like, that's there.
Engage.
I saw this announcement you did. Wow, that's amazing. How did you go about that? That was really interesting and inspiring. These are three things I learned from it. Are you available for a call so that you could, we could discuss more? Oh, I have a question. Ask the question. Go from there. And then from there you can now ask that, oh, hi. Based on this thing you talked about 3 months ago, we're working on XYZ. What are your current goals? Have your goals changed? Are you like, where are you guys, like, what are your goals for the year? That person will not tell you what the goals are for the year. You now go and put it in
You
the
know,
proposal and say, you guys,
based
sorry.
on, you
But you
know,
put in the proposal, you just took it inside there. I just feel like,
yeah.
based on, and now you have inside information, right? So it's so much easier to be able to clarify, to say, I know that these are the goals you guys are working towards. Would this be a great fit? Right. And as long as people see that they can get value from what it is that you're doing and your ask is not unreasonable, they'll be happy to do it. They'll
To
really be
collaborate.
happy. They just need results. And results
Yes.
are hidden in the numbers and the stories.
Whoa, that was really, really good. Whoa, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. I was literally taking note myself. This is my note.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. I was taking notes. And I find a lot of things very relatable. And so in one of my work as a global talent acquisition for an organization in Poland, I cover West Africa. And a lot of times I'm constantly headhunting for developers, tech talent in Nigeria. And I found out that a lot of people connected with me 6 months ago, anticipating an opportunity now. Maybe they knew somehow, but they connected a long time ago. Are you currently recruiting for Java developers? Are you guys currently looking
Wow.
for site reliability engineer? And now that those opportunities are open for certain organizations, I'm able to reach out to them. So that's why I agree so much with what you just said in terms of partnership. Don't wait till you need partnership with people before you then begin to reach out. Even I need to learn that. I mean, I had to reach out when I needed you to come on board, right? Being on your page. So I
That's
need
fine.
to
But in
learn.
fact, one of the interesting things that you did when you reached out was, yes, you introduced yourself, but you also talked about me, right? That
Yes,
you knew what it was that I was doing, that you had
yes,
done your research. When I
yes.
first reached out to Seth Godin, it was from
Mm,
a place of, you know, I've read your books, I've read your
mm,
interviews, and at the time I was even doing it, I didn't know that I was going to reach out to him, but at least
mm.
I had a good base. So when you
Yes.
quote someone showing that their lives have in one way or the other impacted you, or
Mm.
even if it did not impact you, you've learned something, even if you've not learned anything, it's like you like the work that they're doing,
Yes.
and these are ways that you see synergy, or you understand the work that they're
Mm,
doing, and these are ways you see synergy. Sorry. You open doors for yourself, you create
mm.
opportunities for yourself. And so that's something that I think more people should think about as
Yes.
they progress and build
Absolutely.
relationships now, genuine relationships, like
Mm.
actual relationships that you care about, not just
Yes.
relationship of convenience or like climber
Because
relationship. Don't be that person. Yeah, just like build relations. See people, the people now that you can just identify, even from this chat box, you can just identify and be like, wow, okay,
mm,
I like how this person is thinking. I like how this person
mm.
is talking. I want to be their friend.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Blessing. That was really good. That was really good. Thank you so much. Guys, please just love up on her in the comments in the chat box. Thank you
Oh,
so
so
much.
sweet.
And so many powerful things here. So many relatable things. Collaboration is the new competition. So guys, you want to leverage on that. And of course, in terms of yourself as well, because this is two-way, showcasing to the people you are attracting and then the partnership, right? So I think there's a lot to unpack here. And I know that even a lot of people will still have to listen to this again to take their notes. But thank you so much, Blessing. I appreciate this. And I think we just have 4 minutes more because,
Don't
you know,
worry, just go ahead.
also, I wanted to know if anybody have a question. Please, you can drop 1 or 2 questions in the chat and then we'll be able to see it. You can drop that very quickly while I just ask my last question for the day, now that we still have Blessing here. So I wanted to know, in just really wrapping up, because a lot of people are probably thinking in their head now to say, okay, I need to start thinking about, I call it the 6 W, some of the things that you said, like what's the what, the why, the where, the who, the when, all of those things. Now that I've identified them, I think partnership is good as well. And a lot of people are just thinking, I don't have the resources. Because every time we talk about these things, people think about resources like you need money to start. Oh, I need, like someone once told me, I need to paint my background white. I need to buy props to be able to start creating content. And I said, you don't need these things. You can, but I really want you to speak to that. What do we need to start? Do I need to change and move to Lekki or, Banana Island, have a good background, have
Okay,
1,000,
so
10,000
before we start,
followers?
right, before we even get into that, let's
Yeah.
even talk about the topic for a second. The
Mm,
topic here is global visibility, curating a brand identity as freelancers. And I wouldn't be fair to anyone if I don't talk about like what exactly is a brand identity. And I think maybe by
mm,
starting, they would be able to sort of unpack more things, right? So
yeah.
let's start with brand. What is a brand? I had already said at the beginning that a brand is not your logo, it's not your font, it's not your color, it's not any of these things. It's who you are consistently as your audience interacts with you, as your
Mm,
target audience interacts with you. That's how I define a brand. I don't know what it is on this internet. I mean, I
mm,
know what it is on the internet, but it is really who you are consistently as your
mm,
audience interacts with you. Now, I have come up with a framework where I've broken down branding into three separate parts, right?
mm,
Your identity, your communication, and then your credibility. Those are like three different parts that make up what your brand is. People can break it down into whatever else, but in all of the work that I've done, everything always falls into these three main parts: identity, communication, credibility. Your identity is
Credibility.
only 1/3 of your brand, 1/3.
Wow.
Now, in this identity, there is your visual identity and there's the non-visual identity. Your non-visual identity is the part that nobody else sees. Like they don't see that
Interact with
part.
that.
These are like things that happen inside of you. One of my favorite examples to explain a brand is like you, if I was missing, let's assume that I was lost on this life, like just suddenly now my life just goes off. Wow, I have 8% battery. But
Oh my
fingers
God.
crossed. No,
Apologies.
I fully find a way to charge them. But yeah, I have a bad habit of leaving my battery to die. Like,
Is that
I don't know if I should have
intentional?
shared that. So bad when, like, you guys, I'm being vulnerable though. I just always leave my battery to 1% before I charge it, and I don't know why. Send help if you have
I
any
think we
tips
all
and
do
tricks for me.
actually.
If you have any tips and tricks for me to deliver me, please help. All right, so let's come back to our branding conversation. So imagine that we were all like all of us now, me, everybody, we're all in the space. Like maybe this event was not happening physically, it was not happening virtually, it was happening physically, and I just suddenly went missing, right? You couldn't find me. In fact, I'm supposed to speak and I'm not there. And you needed to describe me, to explain me to someone. Say, I'm looking for Blessing. Where is she? The first thing you're most likely going to say is, I'm looking for Blessing. Now, to a stranger who probably has never met me before, actually, to anybody who has probably, it's like, which Blessing? It's like, which one? You cannot say, oh, Blessing Abeng. They say Blessing Abeng. You don't go on to say, oh, yes, she's short, she's dark, she has hair, she's this, she's that. Her voice is like this. The other thing is like that. She's very friendly. That's how when she talks, she uses her hands. You see all these things. She's a branding person. Now, don't you know her? All of these things you're doing, you're describing who? Blessing Abeng. You didn't just say, oh, I'm looking for Blessing Abeng. I mean, of course you can say that now. A lot of people would know. I'm taking a moment to bow myself out. A lot of people would know who you're
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about. But even if they don't know, I'm sure they can Google, right? But imagine that none of those things were possible, and it was just like you would describe me by my name. You would describe me by my physical outlook, but you would also describe me by things that are not very physical, like maybe my voice or like how I
Yes.
sound when I'm talking or
Yeah.
how I enunciate or how I look or my style or all these different things, if they're standing alone, are not. So
That's true.
Blessing is not me because there are so many other blessings. Blessing Abeg is not me because there are so many other Blessing Abegs.
So
Apparently,
true.
if they weren't, I would have the handle. This handle
Yes.
will have underscore under it. But there are others. Do you understand? There are also other petite girls in the world. There are people who are short. There are also some people who are just married. There are people who are not smart. All these, they're all women.
Similarities. Yes.
They're just features. They're just tiny, tiny features. What makes each and every one of us special is these features coming together and making you. Because all those features together is what makes you unique and special. Individually, they are not you. But
But
together,
together.
it makes up you. Exactly.
Yes.
So that's why your logo is not your brand. Because on the logo's own, it's
It's
just
not
a
the.
logo. The name is not the brand. The product is not a brand. Even for personal brands, if you even have a logo, I have a logo. I have a Blessing Abeng logo. A lot of you have never said it before. If somebody calls my name, the first thing you picture is my face. If
Yes.
I say Obama, you don't think about Obama's logo because he has a logo. If I say Oprah, you don't think about Oprah's logo. You remember their faces because personal brands are heavily tied to the
To
faces,
the.
right?
Yeah.
Now let's take that out of the way. So we've talked about what's called. We've talked about
The
what the
identity.
brand is. Now
Yeah.
talking about what exactly a brand identity is. Your brand identity is what makes you recognizable to your target audience. It's the set of things that makes you recognizable to your target audience, right? So now we know that a brand is who you are, but who you are is not enough. You need recognizable things, particular key points that I can see and be like, oh,
Oh,
nice. I
this
know.
is it.
It's
Yeah.
like when Netflix does, you hear it,
You know the
and
sound.
somebody's watching Netflix. Recognizable. You see
Absolutely.
particular things, you're just like, you see Kim Kardashian on the radio, you're like, recognizable. There's
Yeah.
some things that are so recognizable that when we see those kind of features somewhere else, we're like, it reminds us of those people. Because what we're trying to do with the brand identity is one, we want to be findable, we want to be recognizable, but we also want to be memorable. And those three things are important when you're crafting your brand identity, right? I like that you said curating as opposed to even creating, right? Because curating is that these things exist. Each and every one of us on this call right now have brands. The problem
Yeah.
is, are these the brands that we want? Is it the brand that we're proud of? Like when I Google myself, am I happy with what I see? If I am not, what can I do to change it? And so that's what the branding process is. You going from the points you are. So let's assume like I like to call it your intended brand, right? So you have an intended brand in your mind, like this is who I am right now, this is who I want to be, this is what I intend to be. And then there is also a perception from
Yeah.
your audience. It's
What
like,
they see.
exactly, so that's their perceived brand of you.
Yeah.
So is the intended brand equal to the perceived brand? If it's not,
Powerful.
is it even 50%? Is it like 50%? Are you like 50% there? If it's not at all, then it means you have a lot of work to do. Meaning you have to do the work to connect what you have in your head to what your audience have in their head of you. And you can't do it alone. You want to first examine, what does my audience have in their head of me? How did they come about that? And that's why I always give my people exercises, like my clients. I'll give you an exercise. Go ask 5 of your most interesting clients to give you 5 adjectives they will use to describe you, and you write down 5 adjectives you use to describe yourself, right?
Yourself.
You'll be able to see how they see you versus how you see yourself, and so you will now know what work you need to do to get to a point where they see you as you see yourself, or you begin to maybe adjust the beats and be honest with yourself. Because there's one client that I worked with. Well, no, I didn't work with the client actually. There was one client I spoke to. Actually, not the client. There was somebody that
The
I spoke
prospect.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, there was somebody I spoke to. The way the person saw their brand is not how their customers were
So
seeing their
them.
brand. The customers
Wow.
saw them as a second best alternative, and they thought they were in the leagues of the premium. And there was not, like, it wasn't because of how they started, they were nowhere near premium. They were just always seen as second best. A second best is not a bad thing, because there are people who need second best.
Yeah.
Do you get, like, best is relative depending on who the target audience is. It's
Yes.
also a good time to mention that there is a difference between your audience and your customer. Give me a second, let me
Okay
find out
now.
I need to charge.
Oh my. Okay, let's give you that few seconds. That's actually very deep. I'm gonna
Okay,
take that
okay,
down.
I'm back.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay,
Audience and customer.
so so your audience are the people who, all this, we do all this audience persona,
Yeah.
behavior, environment, like where are they,
Yes.
demography, like where are they, how old are they, what gender, all of those things. Nice. But one of the most important things there is the need, right? Do they need what it is that you're offering? You see that audience, if they need it, they'll follow you on social media, they will find your content on blog, all those things will happen. But guess what will not happen?
Yeah.
Guess what will not happen? They will not pay. When it comes to paying, they won't pay.
Yeah.
But you see your customer is a subset of your audience, of your target audience, that needs what it is you're offering, but they go the extra mile. These are the other 3 things that you should look out for. Are they willing and able to pay for it? So
Yeah.
willing and able is very important. That combination has to be together.
Together.
Yes, number one, they need it, but are they willing and able to pay for it, right?
Yes.
Number 2 is now, okay, no, I need to give an example of willing and able just for the sake of people who may not understand. Willing and able is that Dangote is able to pay for pure water, but is he willing to pay for pure water? Not really. I am willing to have a private jet. I'm very willing. Hey God, with Lagos traffic, over willing is
Over
worrying.
wheeling.
Do you understand? Am I
Yes.
able to pay
At the
for it?
moment.
Pay for it in a way that I can actually afford the maintenance every? No.
Mm.
Not there yet. It doesn't mean I can't rent it, oh, but I'm not at a point where I want to be maintaining a private jet day in, day out, right?
Yeah.
So am I willing? Yes. Am I able? Nope. So, question I've asked you, number one is need. Number two is
Do they need
willing
it?
and able.
Yes.
Great. Number three, the third part is now, can they pay for it again? Now, remember when I think it was Otedola bought Ferraris, was it Ferraris for his three daughters?
For $10.
All
Yes, it
three are
was for,
Ferraris. His body didn't shake. His account balance, maybe not. I don't
I
think
think
it
it was
was.
for copy.
People who are true iPhone users slash iPhone customers can afford to change their iPhone every year, every 2 years.
Absolutely.
If iPhone was waiting for the people who are using fairly used iPhones to be their customers, they'll run out of business.
They will.
If they're waiting for people who have to save 5 years to be able to afford the iPhone,
Mm.
they will run out of business.
They
So you,
will.
Uncle, dear freelancer, why is your case different? And I need to explain this to you. People are going to reach out to you and say, I know where I can get it cheaper. If you know who you are, you know what you're providing, you know who your target audience is, and you've done appropriate research to determine that your target audience can afford it.
Mm.
I mean, there's no reason why pure water should be 1,000 naira when mass market is not any 1,000 naira. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
Fiji water that has money to be able to do ad on bullet train film. Fiji,
Mm-hmm.
what Fiji water is? Fiji water is the water that most people that are rich have in their private jet. That's Fiji water. So Fiji water knows who their target audience is.
And
You
took
don't
it
have to pay
there.
15 naira. They're 15 naira bottle water.
Of
But Fiji
course.
water, I think it used to go for 1K or so. Probably more.
Same
And it's
water.
not even 50 cl. I don't even think it's 50 cl. That's so rude. It's really like 45 cl or something. It's up to 50, not to think of 1 liter. So
Mm.
please, you need to understand. But if you've decided that you are going to serve that particular market, you also need to create to appeal to that particular market. It means that if you're saying you're creating premium products, right? You also have to give premium service. You can't put a premium price and not give premium service.
Yes.
So that's why you would see when you would go to like a luxury store to maybe buy like a Chanel bag or a designer bag or whatever it is, they'll give you champagne while you're shopping. Is that your money already? It's what you also expect, because there's a way they cannot disrespect you because it's different.
It is.
There's a way the place smells. There's a way, even the chairs, they put in a lot of money to make to attract the money making people. So you too, you cannot say you are a luxury. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So a lot of us are spending too much time focusing on our audience, which is good, by the way. Now, the fact that you have audience does not mean you throw it away. Don't throw them away. They're
Yes.
not useless. The
Yes.
beautiful thing about your audience, they may not be able to afford your product,
Mm.
but you need to be able to create something that can satisfy them, something that suits their pain to a certain degree, something that they can share. See them as evangelists, right?
Okay.
So when you see them as an evangelist for your product, where they would share to people who look like them, and hopefully, it can help you attract one new customer. The fact that they cannot afford it does not mean they will not afford it in the future. It also doesn't mean that they don't have friends like them that
That
can
can
afford it.
afford you.
So what you want to try to do is first create for them, or create with them in mind.
In
I know what
mind.
you're creating that is for them. I know what you're creating that's for your customers. Now, for example, I know my services are expensive as a brand person. I know. I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm very aware. I'm actually quite aware. right? But I still create content that I give free of charge that would help them feel a little bit better. I even sometimes create transformational content, things that they can read, like an ebook that you read and you'll be like, wow, I
Download
can't
for
believe I just
free.
bought this for only 10K or only 5K, because the value I got is way more than 10K. I create things that they can go and execute by themselves. I would do workbooks, I would do all those things because I understand you might not be able to afford this. However, the people that I am targeting can't afford it. So, and I know that they will not be willing to execute by themselves. In fact, maybe the skill that they want to execute on may not permit them to execute by themselves. So therefore, they call me. So when people now reach out to me and they say, "Blessing, I want this branding," but they can't afford me, I'm more than happy. Or maybe I'm even booked and I can't even take more people. I'm more than happy to refer them to other people and say, "Oh, I can't do this right now, or maybe I can't do it for this price right now. However, I know XYZ person who will be more than
You can
happy to
do
do it at
it.
this price." The fact that I can't do it at the price that they're asking me for doesn't mean I should block another person's blessing. That could
Very
be someone
true.
else's blessing. So I even don't have any problems when people reach out to me and they're like, but I have other food I can do it cheaper. I'm even going to refer you to them because I know them. Do you understand? So I
Yes.
don't have a problem with that, but that's because I have very solid understanding about who my target audience is, what type of work that I deliver, what it costs me to do that work, how much I'm willing to do that work for, and I know it. I even know how many clients I can take a month, and that's just me. Your case might be different. But whenever you're thinking of your pricing, always ensure that you equate your service delivery, the quality of your service, in fact, surpass the client's expectation. The next thing I would teach you to do is promise what you can that would, sort your clients out, but sometimes go the extra mile to over deliver. That's always a
Over
pleasant surprise.
delivered.
And then if you finally decide that you're going to take a pay cut because you really love, because there are times where you find really interesting passion projects, but they can't afford you, and you're choosing that, I don't mind, I'm going to do this for less than my price. State it in your invoice that this is 50%, that 50% discount. I'm giving you 50% discount in your invoice.
Discount.
Make it clear. So when they ask you, you can easily tell them, I give you a
It
discount
was
because I really
actually a
love what
discount.
you're building. But it also means that your service cannot, the quality of your service cannot be discounted,
It
except you
can.
state it in the beginning. Once you've agreed to accept a certain amount of money for a certain service, you have to deliver that level of service. It's like whether I give you the 50% discount or not, you did not hold a gun to my head for me to do the work.
To
So
do
as
that.
long as I've said yes, I've said yes, I have to give you the quality of work that you deserve because I said yes. Now, bringing that back to brand identity and everything, what I'm saying is you're going to the identity that you're crafting has to be a mix of you and your target audience. It has to be aligned with your mission, your vision, your personality, all of these things. What I want to communicate, the value that I want to add to people, the value that I want to propose, all of those things, you want to have them on lockdown. Once you have these things sorted out, you can now come out and say, okay, based on the value that I say I want to create, based on my personality or based on the personality of this business. Also, remember that if you're a business and you're listening to me, I expect that you would be thinking about your business as a human being, because at the end of the day, we're in a human to human era and not like a
Yeah.
B2B or a B2C anything. And
Anymore.
you're still dealing with human beings. So people want to deal with human beings and not robots. So if your business gives them an emotion, a feeling, all of that, they're going to gravitate towards your business. They're going to love your business, and they're going to be like, I love how I feel with this business. Even unconsciously, we all can describe different businesses as though they were individuals. It's like
True.
if I say, think of a bag, I tell me which Nollywood celebrity this bag reminds me. You have an answer in mind because that's how you see that business. So when I
That's
say think
true.
about your business as a human being, please go ahead and think about it like a human being. If you're a human being, just think about yourself and say, what is my personality? There's a big misconception that everybody has to target millennials. There's a big misconception as well that everybody has to be fun on social media. It's like you have to be talking as though you're talking to young people all the time, as though
Like
you are
Gen
targeting
Zs.
millennials, Gen Z, all those things. It's wrong. Like in our current lives, we all have different types of relationships that exist. We're sisters to someone, we're brothers to someone, we have mothers, we have grandmothers, we have fathers, and how we relate with all these different people are different. So if
Absolutely.
your brand personality is to be a father to your target audience, that
Mm,
world exists. If you want to be a friend, that world exists. If you want to
mm.
be a sister, that world exists. So don't confine your mind to always be like a Gen Z relatable hybrid
Rigid.
friend who's always fun, interesting. No, you don't have to be. You also don't have to be an extrovert on social media. You could be an amazing introvert that would create introvert type personality. One of my favorite introverts ever is Sia.
Mm,
Sia the musician. We've
the
never seen
wonderful.
her face. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know if you know what she looks like, but me, I don't know what she
I
looks
think
like.
she's slim. She has a very small body, but I don't know
You
what
only
the
know her
face
body.
looks
What's
like.
her face?
I have no idea.
I have no clue.
That's so
But
true.
she's doing music video.
Mm,
I know her voice. And so
I
the
do.
experience I get from her is very different from a Beyonce experience.
It is. It's
Does it
actually
make
deep.
her experience any less? No.
It
So just
doesn't.
don't overthink how you communicate. Define what it is you want to communicate, which is where your identity comes through.
Mm,
Define what it is you want to be known for. Define how you want to communicate with your people. And
mm,
then once you've checked all those boxes, now pick on the tone, the voice, and the communication. And the most important thing you must remember is always listen to how your audience describes their problem so that you can embody your answers using the words.
mm. In that context. Hey. Blessing, we lost you for a few seconds. Are you still there? I hope it's not your phone. Guys, can you still hear me? I want to be sure it's not me. Guys, can you still hear me? Or is it from Blessing side? Just drop a comment for us to know where that is coming from. Okay. I guess Blessing will be joining back. Our connections sort of went off a bit, yes. But this has been, oh my God, this is mind blowing. Oh my God. She literally took it to the next level. I do hope that she's able to join again. Yes, I agree. This is a masterclass. Mobu, this is a masterclass. I do hope that she's able to join again. Yeah, probably a call came in or a phone went off at some point. But I think it's been a masterclass and more, right? My notes is literally full, from your branding perspective to your positioning to your identity, everything, to your authenticity, right? Some of the things, awesome. We're waiting for you, Blessing. We're waiting for you. As soon as you're able to do that, do send the request. Thank you so much. Oh, battery finally died. So sorry about that. So sorry. We'll wait for you, definitely. I'll just hold forth and try to do a bit of a summary while we wait for you to join in. Thank you so much. One of the things that she mentioned, in terms of your authenticity, right? In terms of how you position yourself, a lot of times we want to be like other people, right? This is how this person is doing it. And just like I said casually that, oh my God, are you sure I'm not going to switch back to a black theme? Because Blessing is doing this. I think Salem is doing the same thing, having a black theme, a touch of yellow here and there. You want to look into yourself. You want to look within. Let it be a touch of yourself and a touch of your audience. That's one of the things that she said so powerfully. If not, you will lose yourself in the process, right? Because you will look back and you're like, is this really me? So you want to look at that. One of the things she also mentioned was in terms of the type of service that we create. If you're creating premium product or premium service, if you're charging premium fees, then you should be giving premium value, right? You want to on the promise and over deliver. But on the flip side as well, a lot of times we're presenting, awesome, Blessing is back. Okay. I'm seeing the request with two people. I want to be sure that Toby is not planning to, if she's the one trying to use the device. Thank you so much, Blessing. I see you're back.
Hi. Oh wow.
Hey,
Am
thank
I
God.
back?
Yes, you are. Apologies
Sorry
for
guys,
that.
my battery finally died.
Oh my,
Um
sorry. But thank you for
yeah.
joining.
Okay. And I had to just move a meeting as well.
Oh,
Okay. So yeah.
thank
Anyway,
you.
I didn't want to leave with half-baked information. I wanted
Okay.
to try my possible best to
Hmm.
speak to the topic and ensure that, you know, we cover it so that freelancers get the best value.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
For
much. That
me,
was really so
whatever I
fun.
do, and I hope I can pass this on to everybody else, but whenever I say yes to doing something, I always ensure that, as long as my name is on that thing, it has to be good. And that's my own personal thing. So this might help you if you decide, like, anybody who's listening,
Yeah.
this is something I want to do. Once your name is on it, you can't blame anybody else. You can't be like, oh, but they did this and they did that. And nobody's going to, in fact, only very few people come and ask you for it to be
What
explained
really
to you, right?
happened?
But other people are going to just form their opinions, and you
That's
just want to
true.
be in a place where you did your best, or they can even say, yes, this person did XYZ, but we saw that XYZ was the reason why it
Happened.
didn't work.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's really an important lesson to just slide in there. So last thing
Awesome.
I was saying about curating your brand identity.
Yes.
Once you have a good understanding of what it is that you want your identity to do for you, your next job is to communicate that identity, right? And that is what you do via things that you say and things that you're not saying, the kind of people that you hire, the kind of tools that you use, the platforms you use, how you show up, all of these things. You're constantly, remember that a lot of time you're talking, but you're also not talking. It's like there's so much that is said, but there's also so much that is
That
unsaid.
is unsaid.
And knowing that also should help you remember that also happens with your customers, your target audience. There's so much that they're saying, but there's also so much that they're not saying. And the ability to also listen to what they're saying and what is unsaid is what makes the difference for you. Also, your ability to ask the right questions from your customers is also what's going to help you really understand who they are and why they need you. And then with credibility is just really about you keeping your promise and delivering on the promise that you have made. I don't understand why water will not quench my thirst. It's like you're supposed to be water. If you're water and you're not quenching my thirst, then maybe you're not water, right? And so you don't want to be in a situation where you are water but you're not quenching people's thirst. You can't say you're doing XYZ but you're not. Like, I can't say I'm doing a brand strategy that's not giving people clarity. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it's so important. Yes, I do office hours. Yes, I do have consultation time. See me in camera, let's discuss. All right. And so those are key things that you want to sort of think about as you, like, for example, if we eventually have the consultation, it wouldn't be a successful consultation if you don't leave with better questions or clarity.
Yes.
Right? And so those are little things that you want to know at the back of your mind, that when my customer is done experiencing my service, will they leave with like what I have promised? And that's what you want to always have at the back of your mind. I hope this has helped so far.
Oh my God.
There was a question you asked me, the main question that you asked me was something around, hey God,
where to start from. No, I was actually talking about
where to start from. Thank you very much. I knew that question was important to forget. Thank you.
Because a lot of people,
my dear, if you follow life, you will not start. There's always something you don't have. Even me, as I'm sitting down now, there's something that I don't have. In fact, if I followed myself, I'd be like, oh, my hair is too scattered. Maybe I shouldn't come for this actually oil. For all these amazing sweet things that I've just shared with you.
And the value, right?
One of my favorite persons, she doesn't know me, by the way. They all don't know me, but I really like them. Mark Angel Comedy. God.
Oh, wow.
They're a perfect reason why you should start. Do you know that? I used to watch them back then. No? See, I'm now ranking that I used to watch them. Back then, when they used to shoot in those corners with cameras that were not quite good.
Yes,
Emanuela. Like, back then. But if Emanuela did not start shooting in those corners with those cameras that were not quite great, she will not be Wikipedia ambassador now. All these brands that are calling her, Cowbell, everybody calling her, they won't call her.
That's true.
Because she would never have started. iPhone 13, 14 yet to come to be unveiled before the end of the year, would never have existed if iPhone 1 did not start. In fact, the way you will know you have done great is when you look back and you're ashamed of the first iteration. It's like,
so true.
Wow,
Was that my picture?
It's one of the reasons that I've left my social media pages the way they are. So you can go back and scroll to the bottom and see where I'm coming from, see where my ideology used to be, see the things that I've improved. You can see growth. You can check my page and you see the growth. right? One of the things I'm sad that I stopped doing was just even highlighting the numbers, because like 2021 I didn't grow that much. I had like my own personal thing that I was dealing with. I was barely on social media. I think that NSAS did a number on me. I just thought it disappeared for a bit. And then, you know, it was just so interesting to come back this 2022 and just be engaging and so like just I went back. Let me tell you what inspired me to come back to Instagram. I went back to my old posts to just go and check out like all the things that I was doing before, what kind of people followed me, all of that. And I was just so inspired. And I think I did it again recently and I was tweeting about it. It was so inspiring, right? And that was just because I started with what I had. Salem King currently has 60,000 followers on Instagram. And he started with a phone that he's not quite proud of. So, and I just recently, if you go to my post right now, you go to all my Instagram posts, everything, the most recent one, I just recently spoke about starting with what you have. All this English to say that you have something. There's a particular book I read that shared a lot of times we're very focused on, they called it something. It wasn't wealth per se, but it was the idea that capital, we all have different types of capital.
Yes.
Problem is that everybody is too focused on financial capital. We forget social capital. We forget idea capital.
Absolutely.
We forget all the other capitals that we have, like education capital, like all the things that we have. We forget it because we are looking at financial capital.
Yes.
Whoever wanted to paint her wall, it's not a bad idea, but believe me, after you paint your wall, you will say you want flowers. You're looking for flowers. After you have flowers, you will say, oh, my hair is not white. I need
the camera.
Like a wig I need to buy before I can shoot them. The things you would always want will continue to pile up. In fact, your taste will continue to evolve. Yes. What I would advise is that you start where you are with what you have, and it would create way for the things that you want to happen for you. That's really it. It's that simple. There is no inspirational quotes or whatever. Before, I would imagine me. One time I was like, oh, I don't have a nice background.
With all those frames.
What? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Plus, there's a ton of people who don't care about my background.
Yeah.
I've seen some creators create in a small one room.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
So what exactly is my excuse?
Yeah.
Like, I have space. If I don't want my background to show, there's so many ways to go about it.
Yeah.
I could literally buy white cloth and pin it on two edges.
So true. So
do you understand? 1,000 naira per yard. Just pin it on two edges. Zoom in like this so that people don't see me too much.
Yeah.
That's all.
I agree.
I could say, okay, well, maybe I don't want to zoom in too much. But if I sit on the floor, the angle is better than if I sit on the chair.
Yes.
Maybe I should sit on the floor.
And nobody.
Or maybe I have a friend who has a white wall, right? You don't need to paint my white wall and I know what I don't have money for. Let me go to my friend's house, shoot 30 videos, right? And come back to my house and be posting the 30 videos day by day every day for the next 30 days. But I only shot it in one day. So you guys, like, there's always going to be an excuse to not do it. There was a girl who didn't have a laptop, coded with her, like not coded, right? But she was figuring things out with her phone. And the amount of work that progress that girl made with just her phone made room for her to have a laptop. There's another girl who was borrowing laptop, in fact, going to cyber cafes. And if you go to cyber cafes, you would really, really understand how bad the computers are so archaic. It's so difficult to do anything. Went through that difficulty, created something, and after creating, she came back. Just the little that she created gave her headway over all the other people who were waiting, sitting out there
to have it perfect.
I don't have laptop. The person that worked despite not having deserves the laptop better than the person who sat down and said, I don't have. So if you don't do a little bit, people who want to even help you will not feel inspired to help you. See, Investing for Good, we started Investing for Good with $0. I don't know how many people have heard this story, but it was really zero, like 0.0000000.
Wow.
There was no one at the end of that tunnel. It was just pure zero, right? And then we're four of us that had come together and say, let's do this. There's no dollar, no naira to pay the other people that, they're not co-founders. So there's no money. And donors, it was in the middle of COVID, so donors were only focusing on giving to like health related stuff, food related stuff, things that
Not
could take
tech.
away a bit. Yes, and that's where they focused their energy on. That they didn't give us money because yes, education is important, but Coursera existed, all these other platforms existed. Guess what we did? Coursera also had a program that they were working on at that time,
Okay.
right? We didn't have money. We reached out and we said, Temi, people are coming to rent your background for school. Your
This
background
background that I
is
complain
even
about,
colored
I
lines at the
complain
back.
about it as well. That was nodding when you were talking. I'm looking for a perfect background.
Yentech wants to rent your not so perfect background that you think
Oh
is
my
correct.
God,
Yeah,
I
like
can
Isha, even has colored lines, gives extra effect.
Well, maybe
What?
because I just like the color.
Anyway, so back to the story, right?
Yeah.
We reached out to Coursera. I think Coursera had this program. We first said in the team that let's do a pilot program. And that's something you can embrace for yourself in your own personal lives, right? Pilot programs. This is not the perfect version of what I want. It could be 100% better, but let this be my MVP. Let this be what I come out with. Maybe I wanted to do 12 episodes before. Let me start with 5 and see how that 5 does, right? So that the 5 will create ways. Like, what can I learn from this 5 and how will it make way for the next one? And so we did a pilot program. We found out that Coursera was working on a program for governments to help them, better access, use their platform, blah, blah, blah. And we reached out to, are we government? No.
Wow.
Do we have community? No. Zero community. Zero everything. Zero, like literally zero. And we reached out and we're just very confident and said, these are our goals. This is where we're going. We'd have loved to pay for this thing, but we can't at the moment. However, what we know is that we're going to put in our best work to ensure that this thing reaches the people that we know need it. Right? And that's all we did. Signed an MOU, signed everything, took it up. Coursera still reaches out to us, even till early this year. World Bank wrote us to interview us about the impact of our Coursera program and Coursera partnership because we had the highest completion rates. We put in our best into it. It was so great that it made room for the rest. Right? Other people now started reaching out to us. This thing you did with Coursera, we too, we want.
We want to do it. How did you do it?
But if we didn't do it, nothing. Now our community, we have a community of 200,000 people. Wow. We've trained over 100,000 people. We've just been around for 2 years.
Wow.
Last year, actually in 2020, we had only 7,000 plus followers on Twitter. Last year, we grew to about 19,000, right? So as of January 2022, we had 19,000 followers. Wow. I told my communication team that, you guys, so this year we're doing 50K, right? And they were like, it's not possible.
The growth rate.
They want us to do it. Yeah, Blessing wants to kill us. This is August 2022. And today, as I'm talking to you, we should be probably hitting 51K by tomorrow.
Wow.
We've surpassed, like,
literally.
Things are just happening. We're no longer the ones talking about Ingressive for Good. The people who need it are now talking about Ingressive for Good. But imagine we said, we're not going to start until somebody gives us $1. It does not make sense, my people. Wow. Look at your life very well. Take it, and don't downplay anything. Just take a good look at your life and say, what are the things that I have? Do I have friends? Do I, like, if I don't have it, does my friend have it? Do I have, like, what are the things that I have? What are the things around me that I can use now to get me from point A to point B? And then start there, focus on it, and you will see the results. In fact, and when you do see the results, come and pay me tight, please.
Yes, we will. We will, literally. Wow. Thank you so much. Guys, please, I want to see the love emojis, please. I want to really see the love emojis in the chat box. Thank you so much, Blessing. This is more than a masterclass. Literally more than a masterclass. We got more than we bargained for. Thank you so much. So much value here. Guys, you know that this is so good. And I know a lot of people will say I have to listen to this again to literally take notes. I've taken literally 3.5 pages, right? Just from this casual conversation. It's actually so deep. And I know that a lot of times you have to pay to get this kind of value, right? And that's why I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for being here. You've said a lot. I can't even begin to wrap up it will literally take another long minute to begin to wrap up everything that you said. Is it from the positioning? Is it from, in fact, I don't know why I wrote this down, but I know time is gone. I can't ask this question again. It was something around fake life.
Ask it. My
Oh,
husband has already eyed me finished. There's something we're supposed to work on together.
oh my, thank you. It was around fake life and branding, to be honest. It just came
Oh
to my
yes,
mind.
that's an important conversation. Let's have it.
Yeah, because
Please,
how
you don't
would
have
we
to fake your life to
exactly
reflect the
so
kind of life
critical?
that you want to live. Or let me
Please speak
explain
to that.
this. Kim Kardashian, right? Yes, you have a dream life. Yes, you know, there's something that you want for yourself, but it's actually more beautiful to grow into it than for you to fake it and fall from it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Of course, it's interesting to fake confidence until you make it, but I don't call that faking. I feel like that's you manifesting what you have in your head. Like, you know, I want to be confident, so I'm going to do this like I'm confident until the
Yes.
confidence comes through. Great. I want to be able to come to a meeting and look a certain way. You don't have to go and buy, you know, designer shoes, designer everything. If all you can afford is a quality bag, see, I have friends who have bought quality stuff that even people that are buying designers used to ask them, "This is your own. Where did you
Where did you
get
buy
this?"
it from?
Like, as you, do you understand? Own is
Yeah.
always different. Sophia, what's her name? There's this Sophia, the girl that wrote Girl Boss. She used to pick her clothes in a thrift store, but she had the gift of picking thrift clothes that, you know, other people so
That stands
loved
out.
that she started selling. That's what made her business Girl Boss. So you yourself, you don't have to fake the life. If it's something you feel like that you think needs to change, then work towards changing it, right? Don't fake it. Be on the journey to working towards changing it. If you don't like how you exactly, just grow into it.
Grow
That's the
into
word.
it.
Grow into it.
Absolutely.
So if I want to reflect a life of someone who is put together all the time, and I know that, you know, with this my hair now, it's really stressful for me to always look put together. What new hairstyle do I want to start, you know, doing? As opposed to me going to say I want to buy some of the most amazing and most expensive wigs, I can say, okay, maybe I could start with a ponytail first, right? But after appearing once or twice with my ponytail, even 10 times, it becomes my signature look. Because in fact, signature look is a thing. You people,
It is a thing.
if you have one shoot, turn it to your signature shoot. When people think that, I think that's the beauty of branding, right? Because who knew whether Steve Jobs had only one shirt? Or
Because it
maybe
was
he
the
just
same
did not have
color.
enough money, so he bought 3 black shirts. You now don't know the difference between all 3. You've confused your enemy. Be smart. You can be smart, be like live an affordable life without necessarily pretending to be something that you're not. I'm not saying that you should not buy Benz. If you can afford it, buy. But remember the definition of affordability. Don't try to. People's lives on Instagram are edited, though. I remember
It
that the kind of
is.
brand that you're trying to build is the brand that when people interact with you consistently, meaning offline and online,
Online.
you're consistent.
Yeah.
You know, the Kim Kardashian of 10 years ago is not the Kim Kardashian of 5 years ago, and it's not the Kim Kardashian of today.
Yeah.
The growth is remarkable. Growth
Absolutely.
is beautiful. I keep using the Emanuela story. Emanuela, they did not sugarcoat anything
At all.
because of how authentic their story was. They were don't edit your blessing. Don't fake yourself
Hey.
out of your blessing. Let people know where you are. Don't in this life we're all running different races, or and maybe by you overly impressing, you will now create problems for yourself. Do you understand?
Yes.
You can grow into your story. You can be the person that you want to become.
Yes.
There's also a space where you can also curate the kind of life that you want so that you can attract the people that you want, that you know that these are the kind of people that I want to attract. So for example, you can save towards let's say you want to be a travel blogger.
Okay.
But you also know that if you really, really, truly, truly look at your pocket, you can't go to Greece twice and come back. I know it, we all know it. Okay, what can you do? Start by rediscovering Lagos,
Of course.
showing us a
Tell me
Lagos
about
that we've not seen before. Then if you now manage to save some money that can take you to Ghana, rediscover Ghana, Show us in Ghana that we've not seen before. You can even make it a thing that you're doing West African travel.
So
Other travel
deep.
bloggers, all of them should be lining up in Greece and be taking picture with the same blue.
You know, see,
you'll be showing us the one that we have not seen before. You'll be showing us, maybe your own extra ad would be that you don't only talk from a tourist perspective, but you're also talking from a local's perspective. So you're always interacting with locals, you're always hanging out with locals, and locals are always taking you to see the beautiful treasures of the city.
Wow,
that could be your own
so
thing.
beautiful.
See, I one day went to a farm. I did an Instagram. Then when I was really active on my Instagram stories, I would go to I went to a farm, and the way I presented that farm, people wanted to go to the farm with.
Wow, farm that we
every time I
away
go for
from.
weddings, the way I curate my weddings on my Instagram is I'm showing you what is happening. So I'm like, see it this way, right? Document over creating. So if you're documenting, if you see from a documenting perspective, the way that you create will change, because you are now just showing what is around you, but from a different POV, from a different lens, from a different perspective. So please, 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 the truth about fake life is that you cannot maintain it.
You can't.
It's not
Sustainable.
It's not consistent. You can totally milk, and then if you also think about the fact that every content has 9 lives, like you can create something, but the way that you create it could be so different that other people want to experience it over and over again. It changes your mentality. So please, my dear, don't fake it. Grow into it. If there's anything you remember, please remember that one.
So good, so good. I think this is really the highlight, summing up everything that has been said today. So good. It was entering. Thank you so much for that. This is really powerful, beyond expectation. I really learned a lot. Had a great time. Even I need to go
Thank
back
you
to my
so
page.
much. Thank you for inviting me. It was so interesting for you. I was supposed to spend 30 minutes on your live.
Yes, and we did more than that. Way more.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And anybody who, if there's something that I said that you want to sort of, follow up with, or you have further questions, I am available. DM me. I may not answer immediately, but I would eventually answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wait, before we go,
yes.
guys, we're going to pause for a second, right? We're going to pause and smile. And you guys are supposed to take a screenshot and share one thing on your stories that you learned from this conversation. So I know that I don't waste my saliva.
Absolutely.
Tell me one thing that you learned from this conversation. Share it on your stories, on your Twitter, wherever. Tag, which of your handles should they tag? This
Miss
one.
Multipreneur.
Okay, great. So you guys tag her handle, tag my handle, tag everything, and tell us just one thing you learned from this conversation. I'm about to post now.
Okay,
please,
let me get ready
when I'm smiling, not when I'm talking. Are you guys ready?
Are you guys ready?
You want to go? All right, guys. Please,
thank you so much,
guys. Picture of us. Please write it in the comment section. I need to know that some people took pictures.
Exactly. I need to see that feedback too.
Write it in the comment section. Let me also take pictures instead.
Guys, we're waiting actually. I need to know truly that you guys took those pictures. Just show us.
Of let me take my own picture too, because I want to share as well. And share one thing that I also learned. Perfect.
Let me do mine too.
Snapped us now? Did nobody take pictures of us?
I did, but jointly.
See, there will be a replay, so better take the picture so that you can
have something
later when you watch the replay.
Okay, let me share mine.
I love you guys. You guys are so amazing. Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay, let me do mine. Leslie, are you ready? I hope my smile is not fake. Yeah, I did it already. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm leaving now. It was so lovely to talk to every single one of you. This was really special, and I'm glad that I had time to do this with you.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. I guess we'll let you go. We're also shutting down in 2 minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'll be in your DM for proper appreciation. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for joining. It's been an awesome time. I had a lot of fun, but I learned a lot as well. Blessing was a blessing. Wow. Wow. See, rhyme. A blessing is a blessing. Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, guys. The Borderless Summit continues tomorrow, up until Friday, 8 p.m. every day. Guys, please feel free to follow, feel free to join in, and then we're taking the conversations forward from there. And I'll be ending this today. Thank you so much, guys. We spent longer than we should, but I think it was worth it. I've learned so much. Yes, I did too. I will be waiting for that tag. We'll be waiting for that post. Thank you all so much. And see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Today, 6 p.m. was because we needed to do it because of Blessing. But from tomorrow, we're back to 8 p.m. West African time. So see you guys. Thank you. I'll be waiting for your tags on those posts. Thank you all. Do have a wonderful night rest as well. And if you have any questions, follow up. Like Blessing said, you can reach out to her and you can reach out to me as well. So see you guys. Wonderful night. Let me see. Thank you all.